So now. I don't want to. Let's go make money. Alright, I'm up. Oh, well, I am here at the creamery in Sacramento. Oh man, I think my, what do you call it, died. Oh man, come on. Oh. Yeah, it died. I gotta charge it. Son of a. Alright, hold on while I get you guys out of here. Man. Alright, sorry about that. My heirloom died. It's this is what it is. And it's like a little tripod too. These open up like feet. And that's what I use when I record. But it passed out on me, so. But man, I hope you guys aren't upside down. Oh man. Hold on. Alright, so I'm in the driver's lounge. It's like a driver's lounge, but putting my burritos in here. Okay, 2 minutes. Start. Burritos are cooking. So now I'm going here. This is like the driver's lounge area for this place. They have a restroom in here. And what I'm gonna do now, hopefully this doesn't fall. Boom! Is I'm gonna comb my hair. I brushed my teeth earlier. I brushed my teeth earlier before I got here. So, hey now, I look like the devil. So I'm feeling my hair. I feel like I still got gel in it, cause tonight is shower night. So that's gonna happen. I don't care how cold it is, cause I gotta take a shower. But, you know, I gotta comb my hair. I look good. Comb the eyebrows. A shout out to Crafted by Jay. Guy hooked me up. Hooked up my beard. Lined me up real good. Making me look all delicious. Yeah, I'm looking pretty delicious right now. That's my barber, for those of you that don't know who he is. But, ooh. Okay. All right. It sounds like my, what do you call it, are done. I had breakfast earlier, but as you can see, I'm still here. All right, what do we got? How did they feel? Yeah, they felt pretty good. Yeah, I think they're done. I think they're done. All right, well, I'm gonna carry these back to the truck and then we'll talk a little bit more. All right, everyone, sorry about that. Yeah, back in the truck. I'm still here at the creamery, eating some burritos. Here's our bean and cheese. I'm trying to stay off beef so dang hard because I'm a carnivore. I see cows at the dairy, I'm thinking, man, that's a lot of filet mignon. It's a lot of steak. But no, I guess it's not too bad to eat red meat, but you know, we're hunters, you know what I mean? We're Spartan kings. So we gotta eat. We gotta kill it. We gotta eat it. But I guess I don't really have too much footage right now, but it is a beautiful day. Thank you, sweet Jesus. God bless us with a beautiful day. And I figure I was watching another YouTuber. It's a couple that I follow, and they're a really nice couple, you know. And her name's Natasha. I think his name is Tony or something like that. Real good guy. And they have 2 little dogs, and they just got in a position now where they're actually doing very, very well, and now they're even closer to home. So they're not over the road like they used to be, which, you know, thank God for that. I'm proud of them, you know. I've been following them for the past 4 or 5 years. So she was kind of talking about like how they got started in the trucking business, and so I guess I'll let you guys in on how I got started. Well, 4 years ago, because it's been about 4 years. Actually, it was a little bit more than 4 years ago. Because I count like the time that I was at school, and I was at school for, I want to say, about 6 months that I was at school. And I just learned that her husband was actually in trucking school for a year. And I'm just like, what? I thought I did a long time. Nah, man, that dude was in there for a year. It's like, what? What I mean, I understand. Everybody learns different. I get it, you know. I was like, dang, dude, that's a long time. But my journey to get to here has been a little over 4 years now. But it took me 6 months to get through trucking school. And where my journey actually started was I started at Prime. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I take that back. I went to Swift first. Kicked me out. Said I was too fat. Said, nah, you're done, you know. No, what it was is that because I have an umbilical hernia that I have to drop weight and take care of, which I haven't yet, but I mean to drop weight and do that so I can take care of it, because you guys know me. I was worrying like crazy, over getting my license back, and or my physical license again, and I was just really, really stressed out. So I'm in business. I'm gonna take care of that so that doesn't happen again. So in the meantime, I started at Swift. They did kick me out, and I was like, man, what am I gonna do? I was in a time in my life where I just wasn't making that good of money anymore. I used to do garage doors for a living, residential and commercial, and I did pretty good. I made a lot of money, made a lot of side money. I had my business license, but I didn't have a contractor's license. But the way I got, I talked to the place that I was working for. I don't want to mention who they are, a bunch of buttholes. But me and this lady, when she was the one in charge, she let me buy from her. So I would buy my product from her, whether it be doors, openers, rails, whatever. And I'd buy from her. She made a good discount, and I would take my money to her, and I would make money on top of that. So I actually did pretty good. What? The economy took a crap. Crap me out. So I was in a bind. I was jumping from job to job. I didn't like doing that anymore. Wasn't making any money. I just hated it. I hated not making money. I hated the fact that, it sounds kind of sexist, but I hated the fact that my wife made more money than me, and that she had a more stable job than I did. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that I didn't have a career. So I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done with this stuff, man. I need to do something. So I made the conscious decision, and I talked to her. I says, hey, Prime is willing to accept me, take me on. I told them what happened. They were just like, oh, come on over. We'll take a look at you. Like, all right, cool, nice. Let's go. Oh. So that's what happened. And unfortunately, with my Prime adventure ended pretty quickly. Me and the trainer didn't get along. This is how different we were. He was a Raider fan. I'm a Niner fan. Buddy, it started right there. It was cool in the beginning, but I had no experience in backing a trailer. Not even, out of a pickup truck hooked up to a trailer. Like, no experience whatsoever hauling anything, something bigger, than the truck or whatever. So, imagine a 53-foot trailer, reefer. That's all they really haul is reefer trailers. And, number one, I was already getting homesick. I'm all the way in Utah. Salt Lake City. I'm away from my family. I've never been away from my family before. My daughters were really young. My little one was a baby. My other one was, in her teens. Like, it's just, oh man. And then being away from my wife, I love dearly. I've never been away from them. Never been away from her. And then being out there for I think it was like 2 months. It could have been less. But I was already then I started having problems with this guy. And don't get me wrong, the guy, he's a good dude. He is. He's a God-fearing man. He would recite scripture to me. He would pray over me and stuff. While I'm getting ready to go to bed, he'd tuck me in at night. And he's praying for me, and I really appreciated that. I really did. But it still didn't change the fact that the guy was an a-hole. When it came to training me how to back up. And I mean, the guy would kick his own tires. He'd get his hat, throw it on the ground, a Raider hat, throwing it on the ground, dude. And be cussing me out. There's that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know anybody who can learn while somebody is cussing you out and stuff like that. And it was all bad. So I ended up leaving, and my wife and the lady that my wife was working for at the time, the lady owned her own pharmacy. So my wife was asked her, like, hey, can we get some money together and so I can get my husband home? And I knew she was disappointed. I knew she was upset. I could just tell. Like, here we are, we're barely making it. She was the only one working. I'm bouncing place to place, and then Swift craps me out. The economy crapped me out, and then now, I leave because I couldn't handle it. I couldn't do it. I stopped eating like weeks ago. I had dropped 25, 30 pounds in a month. And it's not due to, exercising or anything like that. It was just stress, not eating, not eating at all. And homesick, which I thought was a myth. Apparently it's not. It's a very real thing. And I was not eating. And maybe I should stop eating to lose weight. But anyway, no, that's not the healthiest way. So anyway, I ended up coming back, and it took me 2 weeks to get over that, whatever it was going on inside of me. It took me 2 weeks to get over that. And what helped was, at the time, my buddies were from high school. They were getting together, and they would do this thing, and they haven't done it in a while, but they would do this thing at Roding Park here in Fresno, and they would have like a barbecue smash down, barbecue cook-off against each other. And that was awesome, man. It was awesome. And I told my wife, I said, hey, maybe we should go. She goes, yeah, maybe we should. You're crazy, and I'm like, all right, let's go. So we went. I felt so much better being around friends, and then I had my family, and I felt so much better. Not to mention I was eating. I was eating some good food. And it just, I needed that. And it kicked me into gear. So once that happened, my wife's like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I got to figure this out. A couple of days went by, and after, a couple of weeks, a couple of days went by, and I said, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to continue to pursue this, because it can be, depending on where you go and what you do, a very lucrative industry. And I says, you know what? I'm going to pursue this, because my time is running out, man. I'm not getting any younger. I need to make money, and I need to make money fast, now. And so that's what I did. I went to Truck Nation, which is in Fresno. And, it's not the best place, but you can learn. You can learn. You learn by yourself. you learn with the other students. But as far as one of their trainers, man, I'm sorry. Their trainers were shit, okay? I don't like cussing on this channel, but those trainers, they were crap. They're garbage, okay? And I say F both of them. Those guys that were there, Danny and Paco, you know. I'll call them their names. I don't care, you know. F those guys. Oh, man. So there's a lot of drama, a lot of stuff I could say what happened at that school, but I'm not. I'm just gonna tell you my story and this and that. But dude, the drama, dude. I mean, they would literally. I would tell Paco, "Hey, Paco, how do you do it? How do you do this, man? How do you do that? You know, while I'm trying to learn how to back, you know." He would literally put up his hand and then put his finger in his hand. Oh, you do this, you do that, you know, and he'd be putting his finger in his hand, you know. And I'm in the truck way over there, and I can't see what he's doing. His hand looked this big, you know. And yeah, man, he would. Oh, I'm like, never mind, bro. I'll figure it out, you know. So those guys literally were there to get you to pass the written exam, and that's it, you know. That's all they were there for. They weren't there to teach you backing skills. It was just garbage. It was garbage. If I had actual trainers showing me how to do that, showing me how to work the stick shift and all that, you know, because they were 10 speeds, you know, it was just garbage. They wouldn't even do that. You know how I learned to drive a 10-speed truck? On YouTube. That's how I learned how to drive a 10-speed. I didn't learn any other way, you know, other than doing it. You know, so, you know, once I did all my skills, you graduate from you doing your pre-trip, your post-trips, your brake system and all that stuff, your braking tests, and then naming all the components from the trailer to the front of the truck. You know, so once I did all that, you graduate. So you go to straight backing, and you graduate from there. And you go to, you know, alley docking, you graduate from there. And then you go to the last one, which was everybody called it the blue truck. Well, because the truck was blue, so we called it the blue truck. Well, finally go to the blue truck, and you're there, you know, with all these rest of these people, and, you know, and you're trying to get your turn in, and before you know it, a few hours go by, and you're still there trying to get a turn in. Well, you know, once I got in, I started learning, and I'm like, oh, okay, I could do this, you know. But like I said, it took me 6 months. So because of the way that they do their backing and their instruction, it's just garbage. So once I did that, I ended up taking my test. I failed my first test, and the one backing that I did not want was the alley docking. I think it was alley dock. Yeah, the one backing I did not want is the one they gave me, and I was like, man. And I aced everything else. I and all in total, I probably took like 13 exams or something like that, and I aced everything, you know. But that was the one thing that stopped me, and then I couldn't do my drive test because, you know, I failed. So the second time, I think I took like another week to study, practice, and this and that, and I was hitting it every day. You know, at this point I wasn't working, so I would go every day. Every morning I was there. I wouldn't leave till like about 2, 3, and I'd get there at 8, you know, 9 o'clock, and I would just be there as much as I could and get in as much time as I could, and that's what I would do. So once I did that, then I scheduled another test, took the test, and then I ended up passing, and oh my gosh, I was so happy. You know, I told my wife, you know, she was happy, you know, and everything was great. So my first job, I worked for Cargill in Fresno. I didn't know what Cargill was. It was a private entity, Sanchez Trucking or something like that. And let me tell you, the guy was a jerk, man. He was the owner of the company. He was a straight up asshole. And you know, the reason why I say that is because he would literally, see, he got like a bunch of guys that their licenses were not up to par. Like they had DUIs, they had misdemeanors, they had all these things or points or whatever. They couldn't, guys that couldn't get hired anywhere else. So because he knew that, he would treat them like garbage. Well, thank God I don't have any issues on my license. No points. I mean, I was fresh out of boot, and I'm good. I've never done time, and I mean, never done anything like that. So I don't have a record. So I went in there clean, and so, I guess he thought he could just treat me the same way as he was treating them. And, basically, oh, well, where you going to go? You can't get no other job. And that's how he would treat them. And I didn't like that. Now, I know some of the guys that did time, and that has nothing to do with, what we do. But some of the guys did time. Some of the guys, were a little rough around the edges. Some big dudes, too. And, but they're still human, man. They're still people, And it's like, nah, dude, you ain't going to treat these people like that, So I was there for about 6 months. Yeah, I was there for about 6 months. And I really, really got to know those dudes, man. And to this day, I still remember where I come from, And it's like, man, those guys were so cool. I really bonded with them, and they were like, we were like brothers, man. Like we handled stuff, man. We took care of stuff, and we handled it. We were a team, and we were a dang good team. That's all I know. And once I had got a phone call one day. I was asleep because I worked graveyard. I got a phone call from a buddy of mine that I actually met at that school, Truck Nation. And he was like, hey, man, I don't know what you're doing, but, are you ready to come up to Petaluma and Santa Rosa area, come work up here, making big money up here, making big money. So I'm like, all right, cool, man. Let me know what's up. Let me know. You let me know what's going on. Talk to whoever I need to talk to, whoever, and I'll start talking who I need to talk to and give my 2 weeks or at least a week, something. All right, cool. So that ended up happening. They was like, hey, they're ready for you to come up here. All right, cool. So all right, well, I ended up talking to the dispatch over there, aka manager, and I talked to him, and I says, well, I at least got to give them a week notice, at least a week, and, or 2 weeks. And he was like, all right, yeah, go and give them 2 weeks, this and that, blah, blah. All right, cool. So that's what I did, and actually I only gave them a week, but I took a week off. So it was like 2 weeks. So it was awesome. Got to stay home, and so that's what I did. And when I left those guys, man, they were all I bought pizzas. I bought pizzas. I splurged on them. A couple of the guys, they bought me, like, they know, everybody knows I'm a Niner fan, so they bought me Niner hats and stuff like that. And there's just a good bunch of dudes, man, and they're real appreciative. I worked hard. I did what I needed to do to help them. Anything they needed, I'd stayed longer. I would tell, I became so good at it that I would let them know, like, hey, bro, go ahead, go home early. Go, I got this. What? Are you serious, bro? Yeah, man, go, man, take off. I got this, bro. Oh man, all right, bro. Tomorrow, dog, you're going home early. All right, cool. And yeah, they would send me home early. So yeah, it's just nice. It's just nice to have somebody take over and take the reins and help out. So that's what I would do. And to this day, I miss those dudes, man. I do. They were just a good bunch of guys. But that owner that we worked for, they ended up rallying together, and I got an email from the I want to say one of the guys. His name was Tino, real cool guy. I missed that dude. Well, they were all rallying together, and they were in the process of suing that guy, the man, the owner. I was like, man, you let me know, bro. You need me to show up in court? Let me know. I will be there. because screw that guy, dude. He has no right to treat you guys like that, man. Just because your guys' licenses are messed up. I go, nah, dude, he doesn't have a right. So yeah, so anyway, I never had to show up in court or anything like that, but they handled it. He now has to treat them like human beings, that they are, and good men that they are. So thank God for that. So yeah, I went from there, came up here to Santa Rosa, and then the rest is history. I had been up here working out of this area for the past 4 years, and when I started coming up here, I was totally lost. I was like, man, how am I gonna do this? Like, they're driving tanks. I was used to moving around these big 53-foot trailers, doing that. And then, of course, the driving part. Yeah, I drove the trailers here and there, but it wasn't like driving like these guys do. And I was like, wow, dude, this is pretty cool. And, it's different. And I fell in love with it. I was like, man, I can't believe how much cash you can make doing this, and you can make a lot of money. And so that's what I did. And I started working with this group of guys. At the time, it was called KDS Logistics, and we worked out of Petaluma, in the Santa Rosa area. Our main yard was in Cotati. There's so many different little areas around there, and I fell in love with the area. I ended up buying a little trailer, it's a C-class little RV. It's a 25-foot, I believe, 25 foot. And I got that because I told my wife, I says, hey, I don't know how much longer the owner's going to be paying for me to stay at a hotel. Me and a buddy of mine. And I was like, I'm just going to do this, And she was like, all right, let's go get it. I said, cool. So we went, put a couple of $1,000 down, and I took it with me. And I lived in that thing for 2 years. It's at home now, but we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with it. But yeah, I lived in that thing for 2 years, and it was awesome. It's like a home away from home, so it was awesome. I took care of it. I still take care of it today. But yeah, it was a lot of good memories. And then, so KDS, they ended up losing that contract. I left them 8 months prior to them losing the contract with Clover. And then I ended up going with this other company called Moga. Shout out to Moga. Shout out to Happy. Happy, that guy is a wonderful man. He's a good man. All I've heard was horror stories about this man. And let me tell you, that guy is a straight up man. He's a good man. I know that if things didn't work out for me here or whatever the reason were, in a snap of his fingers, he'd have me back on with him. I mean, that's just how he is. A really good company. It's funny because he's an owner of this $1 million company, that he makes years, and he's been in business for years, and he will not hesitate to drop what he's doing to help you out, call you, talk to you, whatever, and you don't get a lot of millionaires that are like that. So it was awesome. It was really awesome. I really enjoyed working there too, and I was there for about a year, like a year and something, yeah. And then I heard that this company that I'm with now, that they were coming in, they were taking over for KDS. So I was like, wow. And of course my buddies were calling, and all my KDS buddies, and I'm like, bro, they're raising up the prices, you need to come over here, and come get some of this money. And I'm like, all right, yeah, what, that sounds good. Let me check it out. And that's exactly what I did. So I ended up coming over here. The old KDS yard, they actually got over there. So I hadn't been there in like 2 years, and or a little under 2 years, something like that. And when I seen that, I was like, You know what? I mean, it just felt so weird. It felt really weird, you know, being over there, because I had to go over there and get my truck repaired and drop a trailer and stuff, and it was just really weird. But well, it looks like they're opening my door. I think I'm almost done. Almost done. Anyway, so yeah, so I ended up, you know, coming with this team, and they've been a really good company, really good to me. You know, they pay very well, and you know, when you pay your employees well, your employees are happy. So, you know, I can't complain. That's why I stay out as long as I do. I help them out as much as I can. You know, and that's been pretty much my journey. You know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in between, a lot of drama with, you know, the old KDS team. You know, not, I want to say there's certain people that we didn't hire, or they didn't hire. Well, now but we didn't hire, and they were on the no do not hire list because they were just not being very good people. And I don't want to get too much into that, but just wasn't good. And you know, they even made problems for me even after I left, and they were making problems for me when I was with Moga. And you know, there have been times where, you know, there was times where it was getting real heated because Moga goes to Clover, KDS goes to Clover, so it's inevitable we're gonna run into each other. You know, and it's like, man, we might have to get them up. You know, we're done. Okay, I think we're done. Well, anyway, I'll continue this conversation later, and but yeah, that's my journey. Awesome, love it. Peace out, guys.